Hello, my fellow kin. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a super quick video. I just woke up this morning and it looks like there are a ton of changes that have come a little bit earlier than expected for some of us, myself included. So we'll just cover these real quick as it does have some pretty big implications on the state of the game. Now, the first thing we'll look at quickly here are the point changes that dropped today on December 11th, 2024. And fortunately for the Leagues of Votann, it looks like it's just another solid win here. Nothing too crazy. We have Thunderkin coming back down, so 80 points for a squad of 3 and 160 for a squad of 6, so they're coming down by 5 and 10 points respectively. I'm also pretty happy to see that we finally have the inclusion of the actual numerical value of the increase or decrease that's present inside of this Munitorum field manual, because it's always quite nice to not have to go back and forth yourself manually between two sheets or look at the app instead. So pretty nice overall. Nothing changes here. I was kind of expecting Chthonian Berserks to go up a little bit, but I'm really happy they didn't, because I felt like that could have been a mistake on their part if they ended up just nerfing the army a little bit more. We are a solid 53% win rate army. I don't think there's anything too oppressive that we have going on. And some of the wider changes that we'll look at in just a moment that have taken place in the game are going to have some implications with how our army functions and what kind of units we will be bringing. Another thing I wanted to look at here is a pretty massive change to the game overall. 3-inch deep strikes are completely gone. Thank the Emperor, they're gone. We don't have to deal with this anymore. It was never fun to be on the receiving end of it. It's exhausting mentally trying to always screen and account for this, and it just felt like the easiest way to swing points is if you forget to make a little triangle on your home objective and someone just lands there and touches it and denies you 5 points. So really happy that this is going away. It appears to be, I scanned through everything real quick this morning, it appears to be the rule itself is explicitly saying stratagems, but it also does specifically call out certain units inside of the actual data slate itself. So a lot of these data cards that have this rule built into their data sheet have had it changed to 6 inches. So Aquilons, for example, or Inceptors as well. So this is really nice. I was happy to see this as well, because when I initially saw this rule change, I was a little bit discouraged because it felt like some people were still going to be benefiting from a rule that, in my opinion, has become a little bit oversaturated and a little unfun to play against. So happy to see that it's gone explicitly for stratagems and for a lot of these units. I struggle to see, I looked through very quick, but I don't think there were any of them that were exempted from this rule. So it does appear to be that everyone has lost the ability to do a 3-inch deep strike. If you had some more time to dig into it and I missed something, please let me know. But it does appear to be that all of them have lost this ability, which is great. Now, the other massive change that impacts not only the Leagues of Votann but the game as a whole is stratagems that worsen armor penetration values. So things like Armor of Contempt or Void Armor. You now only get to use the effect of that ability against a specific target that is attacking or shooting you. So this is a pretty big change, because originally you were able to just park something, slightly poke it out, benefit from cover, and just absolutely absorb, sponge the entire army's shooting attacks going into you. With a land fort as well, this is something that a lot of people have been doing, because the land fort is quite durable, toughness 12, 2-up base save. You stick it in cover, you pop Armor Contempt. Most of the time you'll be saving against the entire opponent's army on a 4+. So this was always quite nice. Again, something else that became a little bit oversaturated. Every detachment seems to be getting some form of Armor or Contempt. It's a little bit annoying to play against, especially at the 2-up base save level. I know a lot of people have been discussing what changes might make it a little bit more interactive or help reduce that impact. I'm happy to see that they went in this direction. I do think overall it's a positive change for the game. It is a slight nerf to the Hecaton Land Fortress build that a lot of people have been running, myself included. But I think when you consider that this has been applied to every other army in the game, not just our own, it's kind of like a side grade, because it's going to be easier for our army to actually be able to effectively deal damage when most of our attacks are AP1 and some of them are AP2. We have AP0s in our army still, so we'll talk about that in a second. But I do think overall it's kind of like a slight buff. Yes, we lose some durability, but at the same time, it feels like we can actually interact with a lot of these armies a little bit better, and we could do coordinated assaults a lot easier. I had a game this weekend that I'll talk about in a tournament recap where I was trying to pick up a squad of Centurions that have a 2-up base save and that were also benefiting from Armor of Contempt, and I just bounced. I completely bounced off of it with everything in my army. And I think that with a change like this, will have a little bit more of an impact, and you'll still be able to pop armor contempt for those critical situations where, let's say, you're taking return fire from that unit because it's just one big brick. So I do think it effectively makes trading a little bit more strategic. You can't just bring out something that's really tough and really durable with a 2-up save and say, okay, good luck trying to kill me for the entire turn. Instead, you got to be a little bit more calculated about it, and I do think that this is actually a healthy change. So really happy to see this as well, despite a slight nerf to the Hecaton Land Fortress. Now, the next thing I would recommend, you don't have to read all of them. I certainly didn't, but there's going to be a lot of threads on Reddit about this, a lot of videos on YouTube as well. But if you could just take a look through specifically maybe the balanced data slate, there are a ton of colossal changes that happen to a bunch of armies in the game. The detachment rules rewrite, a bunch of stats that have been altered, specifically for Space Marines in particular. These guys received a pretty nice buff overall. They have a lot more damage output, a lot of their baseline weapon profiles have been increased, and army rules for GSC and the likes have also been reduced in efficiency. So I do think there's a lot of value in just quickly looking through this, getting an idea of where things are lining, and maybe finding like a Reddit thread that summarizes all the changes. Now, all that said, I have to admit I'm a little bit disappointed that the Leagues of Votann didn't receive any other changes. I was personally really expecting them to use this opportunity to rewrite our detachment and our army rule. I spoke about this a little bit more in our video covering my predictions for what detachments we might expect to see this holiday season, but I do think I and a lot of people were hoping that they would take this time to actually change the fundamental mechanic of our army and how we dish out these tokens, or how many tokens we dish out, moving that away from the detachment and making it part of our core rule so that there's more flexibility and design space to giving us fun and interactive rules. Because now it just feels like these tokens are a bit of a crutch to hand out at the start of the game, and I really don't know what they're going to give us that could incentivize us to pick something else. So I was really hoping to see a big change there. Really unfortunate that we did not. I'll also add, I'm a little bit envious that everybody got to play with 3-inch deep strikes except for us. This was something that I predicted we would be getting as a stratagem inside of our Grot Mist detachment. So it's gone. Unfortunate. It would have been really nice to be able to do that on a squad of Hearthguard and just maybe get a little bit more life out of the unit for 10-man bricks or even 5s. A little bit sad about that as well, but we'll see what we get. Maybe it'll be something else that's fun. So overall, my thoughts, where do I think the Leagues of Votann land after this slate? I think we're probably just going to stay in the same spot, a 53-54% win rate army. A lot of the other stronger oppressive forces like Guard and Sisters, who Sisters admittedly did receive a pretty heavy-handed nerf, have also been nerfed further. So this is all good for us. They're armies that are pretty tough for us to work with. And so they've all been reduced in efficiency, which is pretty good for us. It means that we have a little bit of an easier time playing the game. In terms of where I see the army going, I weirdly find the armor contempt changes to be a buff for the army despite us losing durability because, like I said, all of our army is AP1, AP2, and AP0. So for our AP1 weaponry, this really goes a long way. Bikes in particular, which are mass AP1, are probably going to see even more play despite already being a very popular unit. The Broken Thunderkin coming down 5 points in itself isn't really incentivizing me to take them. But with the changes to armor contempt, you might get some chances here to actually use their full AP to their full potential. So potentially running smaller squads of 3 could be nice. You get to distribute that damage output among different units so that they don't all suffer from the penalty of shooting into a target that reduces your armor penetration. I think same thing with Chthonian Berserks. You're probably going to be more inclined to spread them out and not take mass squads of 10 models. I would personally look to take 1 squad of 10 and 2 squads of 5 if that was the archetype I was going towards. I feel like this would give you a little bit more play, a little bit less reliance on not being absorbed fully into combat if you do charge something that pops reduction in armor penetration. And you do have, at the end of the day, that ability to increase your AP value if something is judged, which probably it will be if you're charging it with Berserks. So ultimately, I don't think there's too much of an impact on this unit or for our army for that matter. The last thing I'll say here quickly is with the Hecaton land fortresses, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Yes, we lose some durability, of course, but at the same time, it means that if we take more than one of them and we're doing some kind of coordinated assault on the table and using all of them to push down one single unit, it makes it a lot easier because only one land fortress will have its AP value neutered. It also means that because the land fortress ignores cover, one of the biggest qualifiers for effectively reducing armor penetration value, it does make this a little bit more of a tempting option here because we effectively guarantee if we take more than one of these that we'll get our full AP value going through on the target, which is quite nice. So I do think that our AP1 has been boosted significantly on our Hecaton land fortress and on our bikes as well because of that ability to ignore cover. So I'm not really sure where the meta is going to take us. I don't really see our lists changing all that much. We'll probably still be running the exact same things we've been running the whole edition because we don't really have that much choice. As always, thank you guys so much for watching a super quick video today. A big thank you to our channel members, Jordan Stuckenschneider, Saturn ASMR, The Pulp, Fusel, Sam P, Austri TM, Dabadakis, Travis Taylor, and Aaron Easley for helping me bring you guys new videos each week. Bit of a quicker video this time around, but just woke up to this news and wanted to put something out there to get you guys up to speed real quick on some of the big changes. We'll have another video this week coming out for a tournament recap that I attended over the weekend. Let me know what you guys think about these updates today. Where do you think the Leagues of Votann land? How are you feeling about the game state as a whole? Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.